We got a Game of the Year candidate, Giants and Broncos. Giants led this one 19-0 through 3. We pick it up in the fourth because it got crazy. On 3rd and 10, but hold on.
I don't like that call either.
We got flags, pass interference, and unsportsmanlike conduct on Sean Payton for running on the field. So ball on the 1 instead of the 2, and that could have been the difference because Dart keeps it himself and needed every last foot. Stretches across, play review. They spiked the ball with 2 ticks.
That's how you nail situational football there.
Set up Will Lutz for a chance at a game winner. Split him! 33-32. Game of the year. Still some year to play, but this one was special. The Broncos with 33 points in the fourth.
You can't lose a ball game.
You really can't.
You can't give up 33 in a game. 33 points in the fourth, Logan.
You can't do that.
Them defensive meat is going to be bad.
You can't do it, but they did it.
Broncos trailed 19-0 through 3. 33-32 is where it came to rest. With W. 20-10 is your final as the Niners proved to 5-2 on the season despite all the injuries, all the omissions. San Francisco finding their way to another win. Back in studio with the guys, and I want to start on the defensive side of the football here for San Francisco. No Fred, no Bosa, other big pieces missing, and still, Mac, this next man up mentality takes once again for Robert Saleh, for Kyle Shanahan, and for the 49ers. How?
I mean, first and foremost, great coaching. When you look at the entire situation with San Francisco on either side of the football field, with them missing so many contributors, major impactful players, and yet and still finding ways to win ball games have been outstanding to see. But in terms of the defensive effort, Tatum Bethune filling in for the future Hall of Famer Fred Warner, and he showed up, he balled out. I mean, when you talk about having a significant impact in terms of their defensive success, guys, it starts and it stops with Tatum Bethune. He had the green dot. He was the guy who was being transparent, communicating on all 3 levels. And what he did in run support was felt. What he did in the passing game also was felt. Making his first official start in this moment, filling in for Fred Warner, he did not disappoint at all.
I'll tell you what I saw in this league, we are always so quick to find the next one. Who's the next one? Who's the next guy? Who's the next up-and-comer? Bijan Robinson is the next all-around back. He's the next great one. He's the best back in the league.
Oh, you must have forgot.
Yeah, Christian McCaffrey is the best running back in the league, if you saw what I saw tonight.
Yeah.
He was the leading rusher in the game out of any player, and he was the leading receiver in the game of any player. And by the way, people know he's getting the ball every single play. You still can't stop it. Kyle Shanahan with his design to get Christian the ball every which way, for him to perform the way he does. Yeah. The amount of touches he's going through, when he is healthy, he is a bad man, and forget about me on this one. The Niners have been here. They played in a lot of primetime games. They're used to that. And they've also have a lot of experience of playing when their players are injured, right? They've been used to attrition over the last few years. They didn't flinch on this big platform.
Yeah, that experience shows up once again. CMC, over 200 scrimmage yards for the first time since 2019, leads the NFL in touches and in scrimmage yards. To the point of Bijan Robinson, we're looking at 14 for 40 on the ground, another 52 through the air. He is the straw that stirs the drink. Did you see enough Bijan in the right moments tonight, JJ?
No, and there was only one explosive play for the entire Atlanta Falcons. It was a Darnell Mooney catch. Other than that, there was a lid on the top of this. And Robert Saleh did a fantastic job where, of course, Kyle Shanahan missing so many pieces on offense where he did not want to get into a shootout. And so it was always going to be, we're going to make sure that we take care of their number 1 guy, and it's Bijan Robinson. And so there were no explosive runs. He had 14 carries, as you mentioned, for 40 yards. His longest rush was for 8 yards. And then in the pass game, 6 catches for 52 yards. He got some first down conversions, no doubt, but they didn't let Bijan Robinson beat them. They said, if we're going to lose, it's going to be Michael Penix Jr. throwing the football around the yard. Michael Penix Jr. did not throw the football around the yard.
San Francisco defense instead holds them to 10 points, 292 total yards. I want your thoughts here on Bijan, the proper usage, because we've seen him pop. We've seen this run game lead the NFL, 161 yards per game. They go for 62 on the ground tonight, Mac. There have been lulls. There's the Carolina game. There's this one. How do you explain the herky-jerky, for lack of a better term, nature of what this team produces week to week?
This is the first telling sign, viewers, when you watch the NFL week in and week out, when you're trying to determine who is in a certain category in terms of a high-tier category, playoff-worthy category, championship-like category. Those are the teams that show up and you see a consistent trend of production. That's the issue for Atlanta. It's hard to understand what happened in Carolina. And then that debacle in Carolina, and then you come back last week against Buffalo. And then when you do what you did against Buffalo, us as fans, we're anticipating seeing at least flashes of that the next week against another playoff caliber team, and we see the total opposite. So this is a telling sign for me that Atlanta, they're not there yet. They're not there yet. The NFC South, is Tampa Bay's division to lose right now. Because when you look at Tampa and what they do and how they play, the consistent stride of production follows them in Tampa or on the road. And that is the most confusing, annoying thing about Atlanta, because you can't tell me how you looked last week.
Yeah, right.
Dominant for 4 quarters on both sides of the football field, and you come into tonight's game, national stage once again, team that was missing so many contributors, and you just look like you can't find your way on either side of the football field. That's the issue. So that tells all of us they're not there yet, and they have to find a way to be consistent, because one thing about playoff caliber teams, they thrive. Atlanta was trying to survive tonight. That's the issue. Either you're thriving or you're surviving. Championship caliber teams, they thrive in big time moments.
And I think some of that, Matt, comes from mentality. That's where I want to take you, Logan, because you understand that building a little bit.
Yeah.
Robert Saleh, not there during your time there, but it seems like there's a lot of belief, not just in one another, but in the leadership in that room. What is belief worth? How do you quantify belief in a situation like the San Francisco 49ers are going through this season?
Look, there's going to be attrition in football. Like we've been told next man up since Little League. I mean, we've seen injuries our entire football careers. You're used to that. A lot of us got our starts because someone else went down, and then you get in there, and then you do it as long as you can till you go down. That is just how this league is built on. But I want to talk about the importance of coaching in football compared to other sports, because football is a sport where I say every single play starts from a dead ball. We draw up a defense, you draw up an offense. Every play is an out-of-bounds play. So you got to get on your whiteboard, okay? And Robert Saleh had a game plan tonight that was better than what Atlanta had drawn up. He was going to take Bijan Robinson away. That's what we talked about all pregame. Who is going to stop Bijan? No Fred Warner. He's going to go off. You talked about bringing pressure. They found ways to bring pressure. They found ways to keep Bijan in protection. He pressured more than he has this year to make sure they take away the number one option, which is Bijan Robinson. Who else steps up? Hey, that they drafted high to step up, but the quarterback, the wide receiver, the tight end did not play well enough for Atlanta.
And you talk about Michael Penix Jr. and the Atlanta Falcons sort of being up and down, and that's what they have been for a while. For the second straight game in primetime, the Atlanta Falcons failed to score at the end of the first half.
Yeah.
Now, last week against the Buffalo Bills, Drake London, he wants to go out of bounds, but then he sees the end zone. He made the right play. It just kind of happened, right, that they wound up getting 0 points when they could have gotten 3. But tonight,
Inexcusable.
Michael Penix Jr., while in the pocket, under duress, he has a huge arm. That's what we all talked about. That's the reason he got drafted number 8 overall by the Atlanta Falcons, was because how he was whipping that ball through the Seattle rain when they went to work him out. Throw it out of the back of the end zone. But instead, he threw it out of bounds. It was ruled intentional grounding. Of course, the ball hits with 10 point whatever seconds on the ground, 10-second runoff, you get 0 points.
0 points.
In a game like this, we already knew that this was a game where you're going to need every single point.
It changes the end game there, right?
Right.
You're down a touchdown, and the end is not down 10. We talked about you got to kick a field goal, the onside kick. If it's a one-score game down a stretch, and that's the difference. We talk about good teams find ways to win it down a stretch, bad teams
Find a way to lose. Situational football is the more critical moment in a ball game.
What did Coach Belichick say? Win the middle 10?
There you go. Win the middle 10, and that's what the +1, the coaching, Kyle Shanahan, Give this man credit. I know you get mad at him every year in the playoffs, in the Super Bowls and stuff, but give this man credit. He knows how to coach.
Wins and losses not determined through 30, but that play went a long way in sorting this one, as did CMC. Most consecutive games with 100-plus scrimmage yards to start a season, 7 and counting. All right, the conversation continues here on CBS Sports HQ. JJ, I want to give you an opportunity to wax poetic about Christian McCaffrey as well, because you knew the talent at a young age, and now we see him over time, the longevity applied to what we're still seeing here, him being the driving force in this victory tonight. I'm not going to ask you if you're surprised at his level of production at this point in his career, but this is the most touches, this is the highest usage rate we've seen throughout his career. Does that surprise you?
No, it does, just because of the mileage that we put on running backs. I am in the camp of, by and large, running backs, they are fungible. I do believe that. I do believe it is better to just keep drafting running backs in rounds 3 through 5 than ultimately paying one. But there are a few difference makers in the NFL. There's the Saquon Barkleys, there's the Alvin Kamara, there's Jonathan Taylor, and of course there's Christian McCaffrey. And this is a guy who, no matter how many touches you put on him and on his body over the years, he is still able. Tonight, he was, without a doubt, the best player on the football field, on either side of the ball. He was without, as he's getting closer to 30, as he is being tackled to the ground more than anybody else out there. So credit to him. And he also has bilateral Achilles tendonitis.
Yeah.
That's not something, while he's not showing up on the injury report, that's not something that's ever going away. It's just lying dormant until it's going to flare up again. He continues to handle himself and his body like a professional.